Hello, and while I'm on the subject of lymph and the moon, which are two of my favorite subjects right now because I feel like those are two of the most feminine things that are so vitally important to our existence, and to have an understanding of those two things is critical for our sanity and for our health and well-being and everything. So I just want to say a few things about the lymph. This is kind of like a part two to the last video, which was all about the moon. I left a lot of things out because I tried to combine both, and I shouldn't do that. I should focus on one thing at a time. But the lymph, I just want to say, is what cleans you. Okay, the lymph is your septic system. The lymph is passive. Okay, it sits there in your lymph vessels, okay? Because you have blood vessels and you have lymph vessels, and they're two different things, and they do intersect and they do cross. And I'm not an expert on lymph, but I am learning, and I want to learn more about it because I have a lot of questions. I mean, it's an amazing thing to comprehend, okay? So your lymph is basically your mucus, okay? Your mucus lines your stomach, your intestines, your throat, obviously your whole digestive tract, and your respiratory tract as well. You have mucus excreting from your eyes, which is why in the morning you might have little crust in your eyes. You have mucus in your ears, the earwax, all of the excretions and secretions of your body is lymph. It's some form of lymph, and it can be thick or it can be thin, it can be runny, or it can be very hard. And when you have hard lymph, that's when you have tumors. A tumor is a really hard conglomeration of lymph, and the reason that happens is that the system got overwhelmed with toxins, and toxins is kind of a long story too, because toxins come not only from what you put on your body and put in your mouth, but it also comes from the bacteria and the parasites living in your body that produce toxins as well. So when the lymph system gets really backed up, because it's a septic system, okay? So anybody who knows anything about a septic system, you know that you don't want to overwhelm your septic tank, right? Because it's going to overflow. You're going to have shit everywhere. It's going to stink, right? So you have to make sure that your septic tank has the right amount of bacteria in it, and that you're not overusing the septic system to where it can't handle the amount of waste that bacteria has to break down, because the bacteria down in there is munching away at that waste perpetually, right? And every time you put waste down into the septic tank, you're actually feeding those bacteria and keeping them vibrant, keeping them alive. So isn't that amazing? Isn't that a miracle? And it's the same way in your body. Now, I wouldn't suggest feeding the bacteria trash that's in your body, because you can feed the bacteria different ways that are in your body. The healthy bacteria that's in your body is fed through prebiotics. Prebiotic means the food for the probiotics, because we all know probiotic, right? Probiotic, acidophilus bacteria, bifidus, and whatnot. Those bacteria eat the prebiotic fibers, which come mostly from fruits and vegetables, especially garlic and onions, alliums. But they love any kind of fruits and vegetables at all. The rest of the stuff, not so much. They like resistant starch, so rice is good. If it's been cooked and then cooled, rice is nice for the bacteria. That feeds your gut bacteria. But it's not just the bacteria in your gut. Bacteria live in a concentrated, in a condensed form in your lymph nodes. Okay? Your lymph nodes are little septic systems that are all throughout your whole body. You have them all here. That's why some people get a stiff neck. You get pain in your neck. You need to, get that lymph moving. And it can get very hard, like especially if you're consuming a lot of poison, toxic stuff, and you're not releasing it in any kind of way. You can release it by pressing on those lymph nodes, especially if you feel pain, just press on it gently, and it'll start to drain like that. You can massage it. You can use heat to help melt it, because it's mucus, right? So mucus will melt if you apply heat to it. So that's why Vicks Vapor Rub works so well when your chest is congested. Your chest is congested because there's a lot of lymph in your in your respiratory area, in your lungs and in your bronchioles at that time, because you probably have some bacteria proliferating in that area. And so, you use the Vicks Vapor Rub to, get that moving. And what it does, it's menthol, it's eucalyptus, so it melts, it heats up that lymph and it gets it moving and gets it melted and gets it moving. So this is the basic premise about lymph. Lymph is not a mystery, okay? It's not a mystery. It's mucus. It's I won't even just call it mucus because that's really general, but I like mucus because everybody's had a loogie. You've all like coughed up stuff and you're just like, oh my God, like what the hell was that? It might be red or black or, dark green or stuff like that. That is your lymph. That is your, the septic system in your body that was backed up with too much toxic overload. And so when it gets overloaded, it gets condensed. It gets condensed in the lymph nodes, and that's why you might have pain under your armpits and pain in your groin area or pain in your neck, which are the three main areas where you have concentrations of lymph nodes, but they're all throughout your whole body. You have lymph nodes even in your knees and in your ankles and stuff. You have lymph nodes everywhere, but especially in your throat area, in your groin, okay, and under your arms. So ladies have to be really careful with the breast area because you do have lymph nodes right there, and the breast tissue is fatty, so it's very absorbent. Fat is kind of like inert, you know what I mean? It's something that it's like a sponge, and it'll just absorb whatever's in the vicinity. So if you have toxic lymph floating around in your lymph nodes under your arms, then the breast tissue is just the natural place to dump the extra lymph because it needs more time, to process all of that waste. Because if you overwhelm your lymph system with waste, then you're going to end up with hard lymph deposits like cysts, tumors, ulcers. It can manifest many ways. It can come out through your skin, through pimples. That's your lymph trying to get out. Because the whole job of the lymph is to make sure that acidic toxic poison doesn't touch your blood, okay? Because your blood is extremely clean and it has a very precise and very pristine pH level. It cannot be acidic. You cannot have acidic blood. You will die. You will literally die right on the spot. Your blood never becomes acidic. Your blood is pristinely clean, and that is what feeds your cells. It feeds you. The blood feeds you. It carries nutrients, vitamins, minerals, so forth and so on, and the lymph cleans you. Okay, so you have something that feeds you, a fluid that goes around feeding the tissues that need replenishment, and you have a system of cleansing that fluid goes around and it looks for areas that need to be cleaned. Well, it doesn't really go around, actually. The lymph doesn't really go around. It doesn't do anything. There's so much of it that you're kind of like, a large percentage of your body weight is just lymph. That's why you can go to the plasma center, for example, and you can donate some of your lymph. They call it plasma, but that's lymph. Okay. It's amazing. It has stem cells. It can call upon the T cells and the B cells, your lymphocytes, to come forward and the macrophages, and they eat the bacteria and they eat the toxic wasty sludge that's in your body. Isn't that a blessing? Like it's so amazing when you really look at it. It makes you not want to overwhelm that system. It makes you not want to toxify yourself beyond what the lymph can handle, because the lymph is your friend. And so I think this whole conversation had to do with like the femininity of the lymph, because it's passive. It doesn't pump or anything. So things that you can do to circulate the lymph, which is extremely important. If you don't circulate the lymph, I'll give you a perfect example of what can happen. I don't know if you can see that, but as I open my mouth, I see a hollow. I don't even have to open my mouth. I can just talk, and you can see this hollow area right here. Okay. This is what we start to get peanut head, right? That's what it's called, peanut head. We start to get that in our 40s, right? The reason that we get that is because there are a lot of lymph vessels all right here, and blood vessels as well. And if the lymph is just sitting there, it's acidic, it's sitting there, it's going to start eating the bone and dissolving the bone in order to neutralize that acidity there. And it's not just here, but this is a good example. I like this one because this is the one I hate the most. I hate that I ever let this happen to myself, but it happens all throughout the body where the lymph is acidic, right? And it's just sitting there, and you can't, like I said, if it touches your blood and your blood becomes acidic, you're dead. That's the end of your life, period, you know. So that cannot happen. And so your body's so elegant that it maintains the pH of the lymph system by dissolving the bone. Okay, because the bone, calcium is an alkaline substance. In the bone, it's not just calcium, it's calcium, magnesium, all the minerals are in the bone. So that's what keeps you in homeostasis. But you don't want to have to dissolve your bone. Okay, what you want to do is make sure that you're not becoming that acidic that you need a compensation. You know, meat is acidifying, cooked food is acidifying. Okay, eat more fruits and vegetables. And then that way you won't be dissolving your skeleton. You know, you'll be like the Japanese people who eat a lot of coral, you know, based foods from the ocean. They eat a lot of sea vegetables. They eat a lot of raw fish, you know. So you can see Japanese people who are in their 80s and their whole face is still big, just like when they were 20. Their bones are strong, you know what I mean? Like their bone is thick and it's dense because they're not acidifying themselves. They have a very good understanding about all of this and about pH. What else was I going to say about the lymph? You can do, I think they said that one of the best ways to get your whole body lymph moving is to jump up and down on a rebounder, which I used to do. The rebounder is really great. It shocks your lymph into moving. You know, a rebounder is like a little trampoline, and you can jump up and down on that to get your lymph pumping through your body. Because you can also run on the ground too, but it doesn't do as well as the rebounder does. And running on the ground is high impact, and we can't all do that. And also rolling, using the roller. If you've seen any of my roller videos, you're pushing the lymph. You're gonna push it towards the kidneys, okay, because it's going to go to the kidneys for processing and excretion through the urine. So that's your number one excretory organ is the kidney, and that's where you want to push your lymph to. You know, you want to push everything towards the kidney so that it can get pee, you know, so it can go out in your pee. Yeah, so that was kind of scattered. Of course, you know, the video never comes off the way I wanted to, but it's still fun anyway. Thanks for watching. Bye.